Welcome to another episode of Obscured Reality. Join your hosts, Mark and Stephanie, as they take you through a journey of the extraordinary, bizarre, and often frightening world of the unknown. Explore topics of the paranormal, UFOs, alien abduction, lost civilizations, mythical monsters, and other unexplained mysteries. Come along with us as we transcend into another dimension of obscured reality.
Welcome back to Obscured Reality. We are your obscured fucking hosts, Mark and Stevie again. How's it hanging, Stevie?
As always, doing well.
Good. Good to hear. I think you're going to be doing even more well after you hear what our show tonight is. I think you're going to like this one.
You did have me on a little cliffhanger last week, so
Yeah, I did on purpose. Man. Do you like Brazil? Have you ever been to Brazil?
I have not been to Brazil. The size of the cities are very overwhelming for me, so I would like to visit, but at the same time, I have no idea where to even start to find something that's not Rio de Janeiro. So
yeah, I feel like there's a fear factor in going there too, but of course, like anywhere, it just depends where you go.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's because also they speak Portuguese there instead of Spanish, and so if it was Spanish, I wouldn't feel nearly as like apprehensive about it. But I know shit for Portuguese, so
yeah, I know enough in Spanish to probably get my ass kicked. That's about it. No joke.
I learned just enough to not be that white person.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know a little bit more not to do that, but Jesus. Well, do you like Varginhas?
Oh, we have talked about the city in Brazil before. Yes,
Cue
blooper reel of every time I laughed about that.
Oh, Varginha, Brazil, guys. This is the Varginha. Well, you know, they call it the UFO incident. I would call it the Varginha. Oh, God, that name's going to kill me. Alien incident. That's what I would say. It has been referred to and is known as Brazil's Roswell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, this is a good story. This story has... there's not much to follow. There's little things that come out here and there, like documentaries, videos, whatever. But it's not like Bob Lazar, where he's doing an interview every so often. As rare as it is, it's more than this. But this is a pretty captivating incident, and I think, well, we'll see. But I would venture to say you probably will wind up agreeing with that as we get into it and as we're done, as we finish up. There's a lot to go over. Details are important in this.
As always.
So, you know, I definitely there's quite a few things I did not want to leave out. So we're going to get into it. Now, this is a little more recent. Now, it's not in the last 10 years, but 1996, which isn't...
Okay.
You know, it seems like Lazar's story was 89, right? And 96 obviously isn't that far away from that, but just... I don't know. They seem worlds apart, probably because they, in a way, are countries. But, you know, there's just something different. But we'll get into a relation there. Not really a big relation or anything. But let's just start. So the Varginha. Oh, that's why I was getting tripped up. I was saying Varginha. It's Varginha. I'm sorry. Varginha, Brazil. Unless I did say that.
Lord.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough show, guys.
Yep.
Hey, if you got a clicker, count how many times, because I definitely don't need to continuously say Varginha or Varginha, but it'll be referred to as Varginha, Brazil, and probably way more than it needs to. So the Varginha UFO incident involves a series of events in 1996 when residents of Varginha, Brazil, claimed seeing one or more strange creatures and at least one unidentified flying object UFO, or UAP. Other associated claims include the capture of one or more extraterrestrial beings by the Brazilian authorities, animal fatalities at a zoo, and a woman impregnated by an extraterrestrial. The reports have garnered extensive media coverage. That's a fact. So, we're going to get into it. Anything you want to say before we do? I'm going to take a sip and a hit.
The last one, I was just kind of like, what?
Would you like to elaborate the last one?
The last one that you said, the woman impregnated by an alien.
Oh, yeah. Now, I don't have anything on
like,
that in here because that's not really a major part of this story.
Okay, I was going to say, because that sounds like some sideshow stuff.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, we'll get into the real story. And that little thing is just something that's mentioned as part of it, but that's not something we'll be going to. Really doesn't have much to do with this. We're going to go into the believable part, which is the main story. Okay? So,
all right, let's do
before
this.
we do, guys, like, share, subscribe. If you have an obscure story of your own, shoot us an email. obscuredr1@gmail.com. Type story in the subject line. We want to tell your obscure story. Whatever it is, you saw a UFO, you saw an alien, you were abducted, Bigfoots, lost civilizations, you have long lost relatives. Hell, if you have a relative of a relative of a relative who's a relative of someone that lives in the Andaman Islands, that Forbidden Island with the tribe that lives there, they've blackballed it, you can't go there. Fucking awesome. Let us know. Email those over. We'll tell you your story for you. If you want to come on, you can come on and tell your own story, and we can talk, and anonymously or not anonymously, audio only, up to you. What are you going to say, Stevie?
I was going to say, it really isn't all that long ago if you think about it, because Oxford was a university centuries before the Aztec Empire of the 1400s. So when you put it in perspective like that, is it really all that long ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a lost civilization, but was it really all that long ago? Sorry,
Yeah.
I just had something like that put in perspective for me today, and I was like, whoa. So yeah. But it's very interesting how not so long ago lost civilizations could be. Like, it's just a century or two, or maybe even a decade, depending on where we're talking about.
There's a lot of good stories.
It is interesting.
A lot of good stories as to why they may be lost too. A lot of it. Those
are the ones I'm super interested in.
And there's a lot of that you can look back in history on, like in Egypt and the pyramids and the Sphinx, and how the erosion, it highly looks like water erosion, and up high too. And it's like there's a lot of cool things with it that might make a little more sense than we've been told. But okay. Let's fucking go. I got pictures too of these people. So January 13th, 1996. Now, we're just getting into the story. We're going to start prior to these girls and what was seen, and we'll go right into them quickly.
Okay.
January 13th, 1996, supposedly, allegedly, the United States Air Force... Oh, here we go again. Air Force shoots down a UFO, which crashes 6 miles from a medium-sized town in southeastern Brazil known as Varginha, Brazil. 7 days later, 2 sisters, Lilian and, forgive me on the pronunciation, Valkyria Silva, ages 14 and 16 at the time, and a 21-year-old friend, Katya Xavier, were walking through an empty lot. This is during the day. Through an empty lot in between 2 houses when they spotted a creature just 8 feet away. They said it was they spotted a tiny, frightened alien with big red eyes crouching by a wall. They ran screaming back to their mother. The women described the creature as a large-headed biped with spots like veins on the skin and some bumps on the head. Eyes were 2 red balls. The creature seemed to be wobbly or unsteady, and the girls assumed it was injured or sick. The women said that they fled and told their mother that they had seen the devil. Now, I forget if I included it later on in the story here, but regarding them telling their mother they saw a devil, they're brought up Catholic. They've talked about that, and that's in there. So, you know, the belief system there is different and much stronger.
Oh, yeah.
And way more in depth, you know, just not quite what it is here. And this is where
They're
their mind
serious
goes
about
with
their
things
religion
like,
and their beliefs.
yeah, and this is where their mind goes with things like that is they would, let's say it was an alien. I'm not
I
saying
mean,
it's
but
not.
if something has red
Well,
eyes, like I would be like, "Holy shit, it's the devil!" Like, but also that's again my Christian upbringing. So, but still, I would.
I don't know what it was, but I'm just saying. Let's just for shits and giggles say it was an alien. That is how they would describe it as devil because of their religious upbringing. So,
yeah.
Real quick, let's take a look at these girls since we've mentioned their names, and just so you can get an idea who we're dealing with here. Here are these girls. Let's zoom in there a little bit for you.
Them?
Yeah. This is from 1996. They were interviewed and everything. It was a big deal. So I believe the two on the left are the sisters, 14 and I think 16 it was, and the one on the right is, I believe, the other one that was 21. Obviously, she looks a little older.
A little.
So these are three girls not long after this had happened. So you get an idea what they look like. You know. Let's see here. Let's move on. So, when Lillian screamed, this is quotes, "I looked and felt fear." This is what Valkyria said, who was 14 at the time. "I looked into its eyes and saw that it was frightened. Just as I was frightened, the creature was also frightened. I saw that it was afraid of us. It was an exchange of fears. It for ours. Afraid of us in the same way we were afraid of it, a being we weren't familiar with." Now, those might sound like bigger words and sentences for people of that age. These are from more recent interviews. So they're much older now. These are from very recent interviews with them. This is a big story. No joke. There's a lot of believability here. So back to quotes. Katya, "What I saw stopped me in my tracks," said Katya. She was 21 at the time. "It glued me to that spot. It had red eyes, oily skin. I couldn't see an open mouth, not smiling, sad expression, shrunken back. It didn't have hair, eyes 3 times bigger than ours." Louisa, this is the girls, the two sisters, I believe, their mother. Louisa made the girls return, and when they got back to the spot, their mother saw the footprint in the dirt, which she drew for filmmaker Fox. They've made a film on this.
Okay.
It was a round foot with 3 long toes. "For 20 days, I smelled its smell," said Louisa. "I couldn't stand the smell. I didn't know where it came from. I even washed my nose with alcohol and water. It was an ammonia smell," that's what Katya said. The mother said, "No, it wasn't ammonia. It smelled worse than sulfur. What a strange smell." I grabbed Katya and said, "Let's get out of here." The girls have not changed their testimony in the 25 years that passed between the event and the making of the film in 2021.
So, like, they have stuck true to their original
100%.
statement.
Yeah. The film they're referring to is called Moment of Contact. I believe I saw it, but it was quite some time ago when I saw it. I mean, it was 2021, but, I'm over 40, so it's not that long ago, but for me it is. Got a lot going on in 2 years. So that's the film they're referring to, basically a documentary about this. Okay. I'd recommend watching it. So 6 miles away from the crash site, so now we're back to 7 days prior to the girls seeing this thing. 6 miles away from the crash site, according to the film, the military set up a blockade in a residential neighborhood. Sources say the local fire department, which is under the control of the military police, captured one of the creatures in the morning, and another officer captured a second near where the three girls had seen it later that afternoon. That was when the creature scratched the young officer, Marco Sherez, who soon grew sick and sought help at the hospital, according to the film. The doctor who treated him said Sherez spoke openly about what happened because he feared he was dying and was fighting to survive. Two people who did not participate in Moment of Contact, the film, spoke exclusively to The Post about senior Brazilian officials who told them about their own encounters with the creatures. It was skinny, weak, and fragile, said Vittorio Paccaccini, a civilian UFO investigator who said he was shown a 35-second film fragment of the creature by a senior officer in 2012. It had brown skin with an oil or grease on the body. It had a big head with red eyes and no pupils. The face was like a reptile, like a frog with strange red eyes, 3 times bigger than ours, and 3 protuberances on the top of its head. What? What the hell are we talking about here? Let's take a look. We got some more pictures here.
Please tell me we have an artist rendition, because I have an idea.
It has to be, right? What do you think? There's real pictures of this thing?
Shut up. That's
96.
not what I meant.
This is 96, homegirl. So, yes, obviously this would be an
I
artist rendition.
was saying strictly an artist rendition because versus not having a picture of what it was supposedly was. Okay, that's not what I was imagining.
Yeah, so this is kind of what the girls were describing. Here's another one.
The girl looks like he's taking a shit and we got him.
He might be trying. It kind of looks like he's
struggling.
See, to me, it kind of looks like he's trying to do something else and is like, oh shit, they caught me. Let me get my left hand out.
So bad. So gross.
Well, I mean, not much more than what you said.
Look,
so, here's another photo of the girls from back then. Okay. And here is them from the documentary. So this is them basically more today. They look very serious. They don't look like a bunch of fuckers trying to make up stories. They never got rich off this. They live in fucking Varginha, Brazil. They're not looking for media and fame off something like this. You know?
They're just telling their story.
Yeah, I find them very trustworthy. But... said the alien. Let's continue. Paccaccini said the creature was alive, but looked like it was about to die. It made a little sound, he said, like a bee. Patricia Fernandez Silva, so same last name as these girls, not sure who she is, described 2 creatures that were nearly identical to the one described by Paccaccini and the 3 girls. She says the former sheriff of Varginha, who learned she was a UFO researcher, invited her into an office building. So she's probably not related, actually. Invited her into an office building in 2014, where he and 4 other officers interrogated her for hours. Finally, the senior officer asked the other officers to leave the room. It was then that he showed her a color photo shot on film and printed on Kodak paper. In the photo says
Polaroid paper. Sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
You know,
back in 96 it mattered. I know.
She's a UFO researcher. I don't know who she is. I know nothing about her. But she might have some skills. She might have a skill set. She might have some knowledge on things. If she's a UFO researcher, she may look at a lot of photos and be able to identify some of those things. I mean, it probably says Kodak on the back, right? So, in the photo, says Silva, were 2 creatures, one dead and the other crouched in the same way the 3 girls had described it. It had 3, I won't say horns, but 3 high abscesses on the forehead. Now, we just saw that in the picture I showed you, Oh, Jesus.
I had a different, like,
Let's take a look here.
mental version of that in my mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here we kind of see the horns, but in this one, this is probably more accurate to what they saw, at least the head. You can see these kind of like 3 abscesses. Now, that I think they're maybe a little too large on this one from what I'm reading, but who knows? I mean, it doesn't really matter.
They said it was frog-like. The face does not look very frog or lizard-like. It looks like a gray.
Yeah. I mean, you're someone that draws these things off of a description.
I'm just saying,
when someone
like,
when you're used to drawing people, Jesus, I mean, how do you even get some of this stuff you've never drawn before into this guy? He took the picture and said, "Are you sure you don't know anything about this day? Look at the photo." I was scared, but I said no, I had no knowledge. The former sheriff told Silva that his hands had been paralyzed ever since he grabbed the creature by the legs. The man's hands were cupped, and he struggled awkwardly to pull the photo out of an old newspaper he kept in a transparent folder, she said. Paccaccini said he has videotaped interviews with at least 7 military officers about the encounter that he is keeping in secure locations. After he accused the military of a cover-up, he said hostile drivers on 4 separate occasions bumped his car on the highway. On the 4th time, 2 shots were fired at his car. He said he has received hundreds of death threats over the years, and in 2004, he moved to Italy to escape. With a name like Paccaccini, I'm not surprised he moved to Italy. I'd say he came from Italy.
That's
Paccaccini,
kind of what I was
like
thinking.
that name.
Yeah, like maybe more like move back to Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the Brazilian police and military capture at least 2 aliens. It's kind of a recap, but might be some other stuff in here. Brazilian police and military capture at least 2 aliens, one of which scratches an officer, infecting and ultimately killing him before dying along with its extraterrestrial comrades.
What exactly was the cause? Do we know what the exact cause of death was on that? Like what infection, what ruled, like what organ failure? Like I'm very curious as to this.
Don't know. Yeah, don't know. The U.S. Air Force confiscates the alien bodies and takes them to an unknown location. A vast cover-up by the Brazilian military, enforced with death threats, lasts for 26 years. Most everyone who hears the witnesses tell their story a quarter century later is convinced they are telling the truth. So, we're almost at the end of this. We're might be a little bit of recap here and there, but we're going to go on some more of the story, rumors, things like that here. So rumors afterward began to spread through the area, with some people claiming to have observed UFOs in the days prior. Later, claims were made of additional unidentified creatures or extraterrestrials being collected and observed at a hospital. Military, police, government trucks, and personnel being active in the area, an unidentified animal prowling a local forest, the death of a police officer, and unexplained animal deaths occurring in the local zoo. Ufologists would later allege links between these and other claims, including the claim that one of the initial creature witnesses was impregnated by the creature. College professor and amateur ultralight pilot named Carlos de Souza, now he's in this film, Moment of Contact.
Yeah.
He said he witnessed the crash on January 13, 1996. In the film Moment of Contact, de Souza describes the spacecraft as the size of a school bus, but shaped like a submarine, with white smoke leaking out of a gash in its back. He compares the UFO to a malfunctioning washing machine, rocking and jerking around in the sky. We're going to pause right here. Okay, do we see any similarities with anything of today?
Tic Tac.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. size of a school bus, but shaped like a submarine.
That's a Tic Tac, and it's white.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's bring up another photo here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, just an artist rendition, but you kind of
fuck off.
Huh?
You're making fun of me in that phrase. I'm not dumb. Another artist rendition. You're making fun of me. Don't act like
no,
you're
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm saying it's an artist rendition because it's a fucking artist rendition. Stevie's on edge tonight, guys. I don't know what her deal is, but we're states away, so I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry.
Because you're always making fun of me, so I just assume that you always are.
Now I will. This, Stevie, is an artist rendition, not a real photo. I don't know if this was just made up or if this was artist did this based off of a description of something, but I kind of got an idea of an object in the background there, but nothing big, just a drawing essentially, right? So so we see, his description is, just like the Tic Tac, things people have been seeing for a long time. There's another comparison here where he said he compared the UFO to a malfunctioning washing machine, rocking and jerking around in the sky. We've heard numerous reports of alleged flying saucers within our atmosphere performing in this manner, kind of just woo, woo, woo. I've heard speculation, not from this story, just these things allegedly being seen in general, the disc-shaped objects. I've heard people describe them kind of doing the same thing in the atmosphere and described as that possibly being an artifact of flying at a lower speed within an atmosphere in a craft that maybe is designed to not be in an atmosphere. And then you also heard of things such as them being shot down or having some type of onboard issue where they do crash. I could be wrong, but I want to say someone saw the Roswell incident and described kind of the same thing. But I've heard this described for ages, So my point is, there's a lot of similarities. Okay, and these people are in Brazil. This is 96 in Brazil. We're at the dawn of the internet and sharing this type of shit. They don't have the stories we have out here. We don't have the stories they had out there at the time. For anyone that's going to try and fuck up here and just try and correlate, all these stories and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Look at these people. Look at where they're from.
You had to put a CD into your computer and listen to the internet scream as you connected to it while hoping that no one was on the phone. Like, not only that, but if you wanted to play particular games, you had to flip your computer over to DOS and put in boot disks.
Yeah. So my point is, these people have way bigger, better, more important things to worry about. Yeah. They're not American. They're not. They have better things to worry about, like living, probably.
Did they even have the internet back in 96?
Are you saying Brazil or the internet in general? I'm pretty sure.
Both? But no, that particular town, I'm sure larger towns may have had a rudimentary version of it, but that particular town probably didn't.
It might have been AOL 1.0, but it came out. It was right around then. I remember just being out of high school, and I graduated in 95, and it was very soon. It was right around then, not much later. AOL. You guys remember AOL in the chat rooms? Man, I remember getting hooked in with some people that would send me what were they called? They were these cool programs people designed, and Jesus Christ, I wish I could remember what these things were called. Punters. They're called punters. Yeah, so they'd send you this program, right? And you downloaded it. And they're probably putting viruses on your computer, who knows? But they're really cool programs. So I remember I had a bunch of different ones. And what they would do is, what we would do, me and some other people, we'd go into chat rooms. You remember the boy band Hanson? Right.
Yeah.
So at the time, I didn't really care about music that much then, and I just thought Hanson, how lame, huh? Boy band. So we go into Hanson chat rooms and we'd type something in there. We'd be like, "Hey, who likes Hanson?" And the first person to reply, we would punt them. So what that means is through this program, it was a cool interface, so it was fun, like a video game almost. I'd pick that person. This thing would correlate with the chat room. I'd pick that person, and it would send them an email. The email, when they open it, would have like a gazillion characters in it. It was so bad. Basically, if you got the email, you opened it, it would just freeze up your computer. You'd have to restart your computer. You'd have to actually hold the power button to shut it off. You couldn't do anything on the computer. Or we'd shoot them an instant message through the punter. It would shoot them an instant message that would just be so much data, everything would just lock up. They couldn't do shit.
Terrible. Never knew about this. Never knew about that.
You could do things in the chat rooms where you'd hit a button and it just put out all this data like in a picture. So it'd put a bunch of letters or numbers. It'd be like do to form a picture or something. But you could freeze up chat rooms. Like you could do all this stuff. It was really
I remember
cool.
those into the chat rooms. I remember those.
A lot of those came from those programs.
I always wondered how that was done. Yeah, but you're also like 11 years older than me, so I was just like this innocent person, like Neopets, like you know.
You were probably like, I like Hanson. Oh shit!
No, actually, I didn't like. I was not a Hanson fan. No, but I was like
joking.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Whatever. But anyways,
the Backdoor Boys. No thanks. So
okay, but yeah, no, they definitely weren't sharing stories like that across countries on the internet in '96.
Exactly.
Definitely not.
Exactly.
Definitely not. You know.
Say these girls are making this up. I don't think so. Well, let's continue. We're almost done. Then we'll get into we'll talk. De Souza, he says he ran to the site of the crash where he saw pieces of metal, like pay attention, like a thin aluminum foil spread across the field. He said he picked up a piece of the metal, crumpled it in his hand, and then let it go, at which point it returned to its original shape. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I believe, and I could be wrong, I believe this was said in the Roswell crash as well. Now, there's possibility they could have heard of Roswell because Roswell was so far. When was Roswell? I forget. I want to say the 40s or something. But Roswell was was quite a few decades prior to this, so I could see that information getting around. But I believe it was Roswell. If not, someone correct me. Immediately afterward, he says the military showed up and soldiers started screaming at him to go away. An official inquiry led by the Brazilian military concluded in 2010 that the young women had encountered a homeless, mentally unstable man nicknamed Mudinho. The commander of the Swamp Gas. The commander of the 24th Police Battalion military presented photographs of a citizen known as Mudinho, who probably has some mental disability and whose physical characteristics matched the description that make it likely that the hypothesis that this citizen, probably being dirty due to the heavy rains and seen crouching by a wall, was mistaken by the three terrified girls as a space creature. The head of the official inquiry reported that the military trucks and personnel were performing routine duties on the night they were observed, stating the presence of the firefighters in Jardim Andere, which is this area, the parking of army trucks in the vicinity of the concessionaire. Oh, man, these bugs in here, man. Kill all these mosquitoes. God. So many bugs in here right now. I'm so done. Okay,
you need
so
to go to bed.
The parking of army trucks in the vicinity of the concessionaire where the periodic maintenance would be carried out.
Go.
So he's saying this is a normal area for these different types of law enforcement, military, whatever vehicles to be in. And the departure of ESSA vehicles, whatever that is, were real facts, incorrectly interpreted as firefighters and the military participating in the capture and later the transport of the alleged creature to Campinas. The Brazilian authorities also reported that the aliens allegedly seen in a hospital were actually an expectant couple who had dwarfism. We're gonna bounce back to this in a sec. We're almost done. Skeptic Brian Dunning criticized sensational media accounts and ufologists' claims. According to Dunning, it is the most compelling example of a case where literally nothing at all happened that was remotely unusual and was magnified into a case considered unassailable proof of alien visitation by many. To those believers, I would suggest recalibrating where you set the bar for quality of evidence. Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
That was harsh.
Oh.
Damn.
I mean, the Brazilian authorities also reported that the aliens allegedly seen in the hospital were actually an expectant couple who had dwarfism? I am sorry. Back in the day,
rude.
These people, dwarfism today, back in the day, they would have been referred to as midgets. I'm sure there's been other names throughout time. Holy crap, guys. I have never seen a midget or a dwarf, whatever verbiage you want to use, that I did not know was a fucking human being.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Are you telling me they're saying that these people are that fucking stupid that they think a dwarf is a fucking alien from another planet?
Apparently.
This pisses me off.
I mean, I've seen dwarfs in all shapes and forms and sizes. And, like, yes, they all still look like, humans, because that's exactly what they are. It's just, I don't know how, like...
Yeah, they're
aliens?
A little shorter. I mean, well, a lot shorter, but...
But, like, aliens, like, as you were describing, like, the aliens as it was, like, recanted, I was imagining something more along the lines of, like, the coffee bug aliens from Men in Black, like, hunched over and, like, cracked out, skinny. That was something more along the lines I was thinking of. Like,
yeah.
I don't, but that doesn't look like a dwarf. So, or a little person at all. And it's just like, I don't understand how you can get the two of those even mixed up. Like,
I don't know.
Rude.
Well, I know what they're doing. And then this Madinho guy. They came up with a picture of this guy whose name is Madinho. He's some homeless guy that lives on the streets. He was probably dirty and muddy because it had rained and blah, 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 blah.
Do we have a picture of this gentleman?
Let me look, see if I can find something.
Please.
So yet a fucking again, what they are telling us is that these three girls are just so stupid that they couldn't even tell that the dirtiest person they could have possibly seen crouched up against a wall wasn't a fucking human.
It still doesn't explain the red eyes. Like, even if it was a dirty, scrawny human, like, the eyes aren't going to be pupilless. There we go. Wow. And red. Like, I mean, there's going to be pupils, and they can be red because this person can be cracked out of their mind, but you're still going to see the freaking dinner plates of a pupil.
I don't think I did look earlier. I didn't find any pictures. I'm looking again now. I'm not really seeing anything.
That's a shame. Kind of curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they provided the picture, so I guess. Now I will share one picture because I don't know if this is claimed to be the person. Keep in mind they provided the picture to them to say, hey, this is who you saw. It wasn't an alien. I don't know that this is necessarily the person, but this may be the photo. Looks like a goddamn human to me. Doesn't look hairless to me. Doesn't look oily and greasy to me. Give me a fucking break. This, guys, this pisses me off so much because this is the typical bullshit they do in America, in other countries. When someone has a legitimate claim. They've seen something, and they always pass it off as something else. And this is common. They don't say it, but they treat it as if these people are so stupid. What they really saw was this, which anybody could have been able to tell, except for these people. They're that dumb.
Right.
I'm sorry. These are 3 young girls,
Yep.
14, 16, and 21. I've seen the interviews with them. I'm pretty sure I saw that documentary. No, dude, I believe them 100% that they saw something. Obviously, I can't say what it was, but this story has intrigued me for some time, and I truly believe they think they saw what they say they saw. What that is exactly is anybody's guess, but I don't think they saw a goddamn human. I'm pretty sure they would have been able to tell. And then they just come up with red eyes? These abscesses on the head? Did our Madinho picture have... I mean, come on. He had hair.
Right.
Give me a break.
And it was a side view. And it was kind of grainy. So it's like, I couldn't even tell.
Yeah,
and it
I'm
could have
not
been
sure
a picture from a while ago. He could have...
Right.
You know? I don't see him lying. Because there's no motive to lie like that. Especially, like... 3 girls who are like obviously very religious,
especially in Brazil in '96. They aren't going to get rich off of a fucking alien story.
No.
Someone in the U.S. maybe, but Jesus Christ, come on, dude, guys, go and Google this, look it up on YouTube, watch the interviews, watch that documentary, Moment of Contact. These people are legit, and this stuff really pisses me off. And back to the beginning of the story. What entity do we see listed in here numerous times that currently today is the one entity that is 100% mum on the whole UFO UAP thing going on right now? The Air Force, the United States Air Force, folks. Here we go again in 1996 in Brazil, where they supposedly have a hand in this.
Where they
and don't say
down.
shit. Common theme. Back to coincidences. I'm not going to get in the tangent of coincidences. Come on, guys. Obviously nobody knows what they really saw. And they may not even know. But their description, like you said, Stevie, completely different from Madinho, from a person. I don't care how raggedy the person works. We've all seen pictures and videos of people in third world countries. We've seen them in commercials in America. Oh, send us 5 cents a day. That'll feed this starving kid for 5 years. Bullshit. Take my money.
Right.
That's all you're doing. And some of those are legit. But, I mean, you've seen pictures. You've seen videos of some of the dirtiest, hungriest people with barely anything to live for, pushing through. Do you ever see a resemblance to anything that might be considered an alien? No. How many homeless people have you seen that are so dirty and scroungy? Did you ever once think one of them was an alien? Have you ever seen a dwarf who's homeless and dirty and scroungy look like a fucking alien?
No, but I have been on Skid Row unintentionally before, and look, there are some. I know, right? There are some things going on Skid Row, but did they look like aliens? No. Did they look like the people who were aliens in disguise and Men in Black? Yes, but I mean, were they? Let's be real.
On that note, because I was thinking about this story today, getting ready for tonight's show, and I'll admit, I have in my lifetime, a few different times, I have come across some people that are very odd. The way they act is odd.
Yeah.
The way they look at you is odd.
The way they look is odd.
The way they act is odd.
Yes.
There's something odd about their face, and it's usually with the eyes. And here's the thing. They still look like humans. But you can also look at that from the mindset of some of these stories we've heard over the decades about supposed aliens called the Nordics, and supposed aliens that can appear or do look like humans. But there's just these little things that are off that you'll notice, but you'll never know it's not a human, right? I've seen people that I don't think that they are that, right? I don't know what to believe on that. I would have to say, show me proof.
Right.
But I have seen people where I've heard these stories and immediately think, back to those stories. And I'm like, it makes you wonder if there's something to it. Obviously, critical thinking, common sense, proof, facts, evidence. We have to look at all that, and there's none. So it's a human, right? But I've seen it a few times, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. And it's an odd feeling. There's something different. You can tell just by coming across them. It's really weird. So that's my little tangent on that. But I'm sorry. All we're seeing here, guys, is 3 very credible people, including the mother, 4. And what we're seeing is what we've seen throughout the decades with any type of story like this. We're seeing the government, whether ours or another government, totally shooting them down, basically saying they're full of shit and that they don't know shit from Shinola. These people wouldn't have known, living in the area, that these fire trucks and military trucks are common in that area and always going there for, whether for repairs or not, whether they know that's why they're there. They don't see them there all the time. Shut the fuck up. Just like you know what goes on in your neighborhood and your surrounding areas. Give me a break.
Shit,
These
I was
people
just
aren't
on
dumb.
the fucking police scanner earlier. I am nosy as hell. I hear the ambulance or the fire trucks go by. I'm like, what's going on? I am nosy.
You know?
That's bad. I'm bored half the time. So yeah, no, I get it. Everyone knows what's going on, and especially with like the apps like Nextdoor and like like Ring. I mean, more than ever, people know probably a little too much about what's going on in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nextdoor makes it easy to be nosy. Nosy Nextdoor.
Yeah. Don't you mess with people on that?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to.
Used to. Okay.
I haven't been on it in a long time. I'm just so sick of it.
Much to the delight of the Karens.
You find out a lot about what's living around you and what people think. And the area I'm in, there's some money. There's some areas in this area with a lot of money. And it would appear that there may be a lot of older people that are retired. And I'm not gonna say a gender, but I've seen it with a particular gender, and it's not to put that gender down. So I'm not gonna say the gender, but I've noticed it with a very particular gender that may be more reliant on a spouse's income, therefore not having much to do. Drinking possibly, things like that.
It is a generational thing sometimes.
And that's why I don't want to genderize it. Because it's not. It is what it is, and I'm not making fun of it.
It was common for that time, and it was acceptable, and it's still fine to this day.
Exactly, they are an older generation, and but you see what these people say, and they see a cloud streak in the sky, and all of a sudden, the government's spraying us with chemicals, and they can't tell you. These people will say that, claim that, but they can't tell you why. It's like, well, then how do you even know that's what's going on? Those are called contrails, So anyways, back to the story. Story's done. We're just discussing it now. But I mean, this story's always intrigued me. These girls have, they're very serious. They've always come across as very reliant to me.
The fact that they haven't changed their stories in 25 years is
too
very impressive.
And you would think between the 3 of them that if this was completely fake,
someone would have slipped up.
They were just bullshitting. Well, someone would have slipped up or finally come out after being bugged about it so much and be like, fuck. Or, look, here's what's going on, blah, 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 But we're not seeing that. They come across as very credible, if not more credible than most people you hear from in UFO alien stories. And they're not claiming an abduction, nothing. They're claiming they saw this fucking thing. And it just so happens it correlates with people seeing a UFO going down 7 days prior.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all these other stories. I believe there's a story out there about these things in the hospital, and some lady who was a nurse in the hospital had to deal with the thing, saw something she wasn't supposed to see. Something happened, and she was basically disappeared shortly after. Some nurse in that hospital. I think it was with this story.
Got black bagged. That's terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying. and we're looking at animal fatalities at a zoo.
Mm-hmm. That's weird.
Plural.
That's
so I would want to know
what animals?
I'd want to know the specifics on the deaths.
Yeah.
What may be odd about that?
Yeah.
So
like, was it multiple animals from different exhibits? Yeah. Was it all from one exhibit?
Well, fuck the exhibits. I want to know how they died. Well, it doesn't matter because
disease.
If this thing's looking for food, it could be disease. I want to know how they died. I want to know what was odd about it.
I get it.
Okay, is this normal at a Brazilian zoo for animals to just a bunch of them to die within a very short period of time? You know, these are things you need to know that aren't here.
Right.
So, I don't know. This is a very, very popular story. I've always liked this one because there's a sense of realism to it. So, kind of like Bob Lazar's story. As much as we can probably assume he's full of shit because he straight up lied to George Knapp, proven by George Knapp in '89 before George Knapp even aired the interview, he had already proven he lied to him. So he's probably full of shit. But his story sticks around. It persists. There's more people than not that there's more people that believe his story or think that it's possibly true than there are for a lot of these other stories. It's hanging on, and it's hanging on for a reason. There's a reason there's a sense of realism. There's a reason it sticks with people, and there's so many people that will at least say it might be true, not saying it is, but saying it might be. There's a reason why. This is one of those for me. These are very credible people, and I don't see them having a reason anywhere in here to fudge and just make this up, you know?
Right.
But you know, the other thing that comes with that is the authorities coming out and making up the excuses of, oh, this is a homeless guy they saw and blah, blah, blah.
That's just...
Well, here's the thing. If they really didn't see this thing or they think they did, I'm not sure how I'm going to have to try and word this here. You don't know that they saw this homeless guy, right?
Right.
But to come out with this and say that it was this homeless guy, Marinho, sounds popular in the area, that they saw, yet and say that he fits the description, I'm sorry, their description is completely different than a homeless human being. To come out with that and just blatantly say that, even though it's so far from what they said and claim, that seems kind of odd to me. It seems odd to me that we have another incident of alleged U.S. Air Force involvement, because that happens all the time. And we know with this whole UAP thing going on for the last 5-6 years, Lou Elizondo, all this shit. Again, the one entity that just won't make a comment, the United States Air Force, yet they seem to have been rooted in this
from the beginning
topic for a long ass time. They're the ones who won't come out and say anything. I wonder why. Start asking questions, people. Hey, I'm not saying aliens. I'm not saying spaceships from Zeta Testiculi. But what I am saying is something happened in Varginha, Brazil. These girls are not full of shit. And whatever the hell's going on now, the civilians, we need to push. We need to ask questions. We need to force the hand for answers, you know. With that, I've talked too much. What are your thoughts on this story? I really like this. What do you think?
This is great. Honestly, like, there's no reason for me to like not believe this. Like, there was also a story. This reminds me of a story of three sisters who swore that they saw like the Virgin Mary or something like appear to them when they were on a hill or some shit. I can't remember
I was
the
going to say in a
details.
cereal bowl.
No,
How many times have we heard that?
No, like they were on a hill and like she appeared to them
Mm-hmm.
and like as a manifestation. So it reminds me of that. And like those girls were always very like very steadfast in it. And they were also very religious, obviously, if the Virgin Mary appeared to them. But honestly, because of their deep like religious, like just based on the
Yeah.
knowledge I have of the region and the people and the religion and how deeply religious they are, I feel like that gives them more credibility in my mind just because they
Yeah.
have absolutely no reason to be making this up.
Yeah.
No reason.
Yeah. I don't see it at all.
That's my
Completely
thought.
credible in my book.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh man, I just wish there was more details on things like some of the things I already mentioned.
Oh yeah. But
But
still.
you also have other people witnessing stuff with this. 7 days prior, a UFO crashed, and I mean, it's very reminiscent of stories we've heard here, like Roswell, things like that. And government doing flip flops. Granted, with Roswell, the guy who originally said it was a UFO with aliens. Probably didn't have authorization to come out and say that. But to tell everyone that this guy couldn't tell weather balloon material from a foil that he can crumple up and comes right back to shape. Man, I'm not buying it. So, yeah, this is a good story. I really like this one. I'm sure nothing else is going to come of this in the years, but I really like the story. It's just amazing to me how these people with stories like this are treated, and it's always the ones. It really always seems like it's the ones that are more realistic, that seem like there may be more probability that this is really going on. It's always those stories where you're getting these different entities coming in saying, they're full of shit. What they saw was a weather balloon. It was swamp gas. Basically calling them stupid, and they don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't know their hand from the back of their ass. It's like, no, I'm sorry, man. People will read through it. Most people don't question it because of the stigma, so they just kind of are negative and ignorant and arrogant about it. But ultimately, come on,
You're right.
stand up and fight it. So yeah. Any final thoughts on this?
Nope. Not really.
Okay.
Gave my thoughts already on that.
Yeah.
So,
guys, if you know anything extra on this, someone involved, whatever, comment down below. Let us know. We want to hear what's going on. Again, like, share, and subscribe. Oh man, that's lame. But I'm lame. I'm older. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Hey, again, obscuredr1@gmail.com. That is our email here at the Obscured Reality Studios. You have an obscured story of your own. Type story in the subject line. Tell us your story in the email. We would like to share your story for you anonymously, not anonymously. Up to you. If you want to be on the show, we'll have you on. Very easy for you to do. Nothing to even worry about. Anonymously again, or not. Audio only, or you can be on video. Doesn't matter. Let us know. Stevie?
Don't forget to hit that bell. Bells and whistles. So that way you are notified every time one of our new episodes drop every Friday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Oh.
Got it right.
I saw it coming. I was like, oh
nope. I got it right that time.
Like it matters.
Just get subscribed. Like, just get notified.
Okay, she's done. Yes, that's it. Good job, Stevie. Yeah, what she said, because she does the bell better than me. I don't understand the bell, but it makes sense. I get it. I just don't use it. I should.
I do for a couple channels. I do.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, guys, we're out of here. Go look up the story of Varginha, Brazil, and check out Moment of Contact. I think you might like it. I know I saw it. Yeah, because I saw them older talking about this. Go check it out. I think you'll like it, and let us know what you think. With that, peace.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check back with us often for new episodes. Feel free to drop a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Obscured Reality.